other issues of commercial disputes and the rest may have been placed elsewhere, largely. So from this end, I'm going to have a plenary, and we'll ask whoever the question directed to, you can note down, so that we can have maybe another 15 or 20 minutes from your end. And we're going to start from the vice chair here, then in that order, Kawinya, then Senior Counsel Kaluma, a lady, at least a lady. First round, then I'm not saying a lady, then Buirosa. Then everybody will get up an opportunity. But we go in that order, the first bunch, then we take the next. But kindly, let's try to stick to the point so that we can accommodate everyone. So maybe 2 minutes maximum each.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Governor, you hold Nairobi in trust for all of us in this room and also beyond. I think the matter before us is Article 95, Sub-Article 2, matters of concern to the people. What we have witnessed is really hubris, and also it demonstrated a clear violation of law and order, people taking law into their own hands. I am happy that you have apologized, and in the fullness of time, I hope Kenyans will forgive you. From where the chairman is stopped, the Council of Governors issued a presser on this, and also senators. And also in Annex 16, the governor of Mombasa also wrote a letter supporting your position. If indeed you apologized and you believe this is wrong, would you like to expunge this apparently appearing to support what has happened? Because I believe two wrongs don't make a right. The second issue, Mr. Chairman, Mr. John Intoiti and Mr. James Lempaka were interdicted. Have these individuals recorded statements with the police through the DCI? If they have not, then why have they been interdicted? Honorable Chair, my third issue is the government does not operate on cash, whether it is at the county level or even at the national level. And that is why we incur debts. Those are some of the reasons why we experience what you call pending bills. In this particular case, indeed you try to elaborate a sort of on and off discussion with KPLC. Before this particular incident, how much discussion have you carried out with KPLC so that such an unprecedented action should never have taken place? And finally, in your submission, you said that the place was cleaned up. Who was going to pay for that cleanup? Because indeed there were individuals who were acting outside the law, but at the same time, the county government of Nairobi ended up in picking up the bill. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Awinya, then Kaluma in that order, and lastly Buirosa. Then we take the next round.
Thank you, Chair. Chair,
And if you can, to make it easier, if you have a question for the IG or DIG or the governor, you specifically direct to, you mentioned that you are directing to a particular officer.
Yes. So my first question is to the governor, Chair, and it relates to the action taken on two officers already mentioned. The two officers, are these the only officers action has been taken against? Because from their letters, it would appear like these were the officers who gave direction, but there were also officers who acted on the ground. Has any action been taken against them? And my second question to the IG, you indicated that immediately you were out of the country when you got the report. Could you be able to tell this committee when this report was received, how soon the officers acted? Because definitely the time of action would have ensured perhaps some of the culprits would have been arrested. And I think to the DCI, whether the officers who did the act are among the ones who are under investigation, the ones who did the crime, who committed the crime. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I have two clarifications to seek with the National Police Service, especially the DCI. Number one, by what time do you see the investigations into the matter coming to an end? Because there is demand for quick action. Number two, the governor has mentioned that the switching off of lights could be a major security issue in Nairobi. And I cannot agree more. And yet we are in a situation where KPLC also enjoys monopoly. And by the way, the manner in which they enforce payment sometimes could be more crude than even what we are talking about. What do you propose to this committee that Parliament should do by way of addressing this monopoly and payment enforcement by KPLC? Because I believe, Chair, at an opportune time, I think we should have also KPLC here. There could be something in their approaches which could have provoked, this crude, obviously crude and primitive action from the county. But what would you propose if we were to go that direction, either in terms of law, in terms of conduct and behavior, in terms of enforcement payment? Parliament should be thinking about in terms of resolving this matter. Chair, I have only 2 or 3 clarifications with the governor. Number one, the governor indicates that there are payments demanded of them as the county government by KPLC relating to meters which are outside of the province of Nairobi County Government. We need more detail if they are in your possession on this, because it may speak to corruption. Yes, so we need those details so that we are able to rationalize this matter of indebtedness. And Governor, I heard you to say you made demands to the Nairobi County Government, to the Kenya Power Lighting Company for payment for various services you offer before you acted. But seeing through what happened and with my legal knowledge, I wanted to know, by way of more background, what could have provoked this thing. did I hear you to say KPLC had disconnected you, or what? Because, Chair, it has been reported before. Instances where KPLC is even switching off hostels. And you can imagine if that were to happen where, for instance, we had newborn babies in incubators. It's instant death. So what could have provoked this action? Did KPLC switch the county government off? And if so, what facilities were switched off? We want to be clear on that. And then just your thoughts also on this issue of monopoly and the manner in which it is done. But would you, in the end, assure us that in terms of the commercial disputes that appear to be the genesis of this matter, you are in good state with the relevant departments of government to resolve them so that we don't have disputes between governments? Thank you, Chair.
Lastly, Buirosa, in 2 minutes.
Chair, thank you. Chair, even as we sit here, I know that each and every Kenyan who's a consumer of KPLC has had issues with KPLC. So we are not here to say that KPLC is clean. But I'm happy to also note that the governor regrets what happened and has profusely apologized to Kenyans. And in that apology, the governor keeps on saying, it cannot happen under my watch. It cannot happen under my watch. But we know that it happened. Does this therefore imply that there are moments when the governor loses that watch? And if so, how then can Kenyans have a guarantee, Kenyans and the people of Nairobi, that this unfortunate incident will not happen again? Number two, if I look at the letters of interdiction, the action that's been taken by the governor or the county government, those letters are dated 27th February. 27th February happened to have been Thursday when the National Assembly debated elaborately on this issue, on this unfortunate issue. Could this action by the governor have been as a result of what happened in the National Assembly on Thursday? Because why 4 days after the act? We also know that the Nairobi County Secretary, Mr. Akumali, was quoted to have said, "We will remove garbage once KPLC pays us what they owe us." We would like to know, is the governor
For record,
of that?
You
Pardon?
referring to statement?
Nairobi County Secretary, Mr. Godfrey Akumali.
County Secretary.
Yes. I'd like to know if the governor is seized of that utterance, and is he one of the officers also under investigation? And Honorable Chair, I'd say that I have a question for NEMA, and I don't know if you'd allow me to ask them. We know that NEMA is actually mandated to oversee, to supervise, and to coordinate all activities related to environment on behalf of the government. If this occurrence took place on the 24th, what did NEMA, headed by the Director General who's present here today, do to ensure that the health hazard that the people around Stima Plaza were exposed to was put to an end? It's not just important to come to a meeting after the fact. We'd like to know, what did he, as the Director General of NEMA, do to ensure that everything, or the health hazard that the people were exposed to, was brought to an end? I thank you, Chair.
So you can respond to the 4 questions, of course, by whoever the question referred to.
Thank you very much, Chair. And thank you, members, for these questions. Colonel Dido Ali Raso, the Vice Chair, asked 4 questions. The first question is that if we apologize, and it's completely unrequited, it's unconditional. You know, some people say, "I'm sorry if." I have not said that. I said very clearly, for the dumping, Nairobi County does not waive its claims of what it is owed. Because that money is not owed to me, it is owed to the people of Nairobi to deliver services. And so our claim is still there. The efforts that we've put together with the minister to look at that wayleave issue and even the commercial thing there, you know, I mean, they declared profits. But the commercial aspect of carrying fiber, charging private companies to pay them, yet they don't pay us. That claim is still there. But that claim as well is to other agencies within government. You know, I had given you just the numbers of water bills. Yeah, water bills. The police, and I'm glad the accounting officer of the police is here. They have a water bill of 106 million. Yeah. That can do a lot for us. But you don't see us cutting off their water. But when a critical facility like a hospital has a bill of 10 million, there's life support machines, you cut it off. You know, is there equity there? You know, it is completely not right. Because there are people whose lives depend on it. And I think that list has been issued. You know, when it comes to SILO, which is contribution in lieu of rates that you have raised, the police, again, 880 million shillings, close to $1 billion. But you don't see us taking that kind of action. And so we isolate the incident of dumping. That one is, I don't think, deserves even more than 10 minutes of discussion. That is what was completely wrong, completely off, should not be allowed. Yeah? But the issue of monies owed to each other to continue serving the public. I'm glad you're the committee that prepares. The reason I mentioned the police debt is not because they're here, it's because you're the committee that appropriates on their behalf. There's some ministries that have sorted out their debts. You know, if you go outside here, you'll find National Treasury has cordoned off some parking slots. They pay for them. National Treasury pays their, rates. But different ministries, you know, are not appropriating, budgeting for it in Parliament. So I would urge you to support counties and support devolution by making sure that in the budget, and we can be able to share with Parliament, all the claims we have towards different ministries. This is a discussion I've had from the first year, even with the budget chair, Mheshimiwa Ndini Nyoro, and told him, just put that money in the... We don't have, you can pay slowly, pay in installments, but you can't want Kenyans to pay taxes, yet you don't pay what you owe to counties. So I hope that clarifies. Our claims have not been waived, and the list is very long. I can share with you later. This is just for rates. Commission of Prisons, and the list is there. JC Department, Traffic Headquarters, the highest being Isili Police Station, which owes us $1 billion. 1 billion. Because if you look at what we call
and verified.
It's verified, because what we have is
one polling station.
Yes, rates.
Accrued,
plus interest accrued over years, over very many years. You see, what happens is that you have a valuation rule. Nairobi is the only county that has a 2019 origin valuation rule. Most counties, their valuation rule is in the 80s. Once we updated our valuation rule, we're able to, look at all these LR numbers. So the value of land there is different from maybe Buruburu Police Station, or GSU headquarters. And I can give the entire breakdown. Muthaiga Police Station, for instance, that's just 166,000 that is accrued, meaning there's payments that we've been able to receive before. But Gigiri is huge. It's 684 million, all to the county. So, look at it from a balance of things. Of course, I will not pour garbage at the police. and one thing that the IG has forgotten to say is how closely we work together on many, many things. On many, many things. The thing with security, and you know it better than I, is that when you succeed, there's no report. You don't talk about foiled security threats in the city. You don't talk about what has not. When you succeed, there's no story. The story is there when the opposite happens. Now, the interdicted officers, and I can combine this one with Mheshimiwa. Anyway, let me just answer this and I'll answer Rosa Buy's later. You've asked whether the interdicted officers, the two of them, are under investigation. The DCI confirmed that they're also part of those under investigation. How many discussions have we had with KPLC? We've had long discussions. I have taken myself physically to the offices. I've explained we're also offering a public service. It is not my personal property that you're switching off. We're offering public services. In fact, I asked them one day when they switched off power at City Hall. Like when you switch off power, even if you want us to pay you, how will you pay you? And the computer that needs to make the payment is off. So how do we pay you? I've heard the police saying that they will make sure that critical services are not interrupted. I hope that applies to City Hall also. City Hall offers critical services to the public, to Kenyans. That also should not be interrupted. I run 125 hospitals in this county. 125. The biggest hospitals. In fact, we run the biggest health service in the country because the national government runs 4 hospitals. Kenyatta, spinal injury, Madare Mento, Eldoret. But if you look at Mama Lucy alone, Pumwani has the most deliveries in East Africa as one hospital. If you go to Bagathi, we put up a brand new NICU, neonatal ICU, where children born before before term, are put there. You switch it off for 1 hour, we lose lives. And so I've gone to explain that we're in public service. I think it's because Kenya Power is such a commercial entity that, beyond the bottom line, beyond the profit, let's think of the public and the service that we're giving them. And that's what I told them. I told them, please. And they admitted, they said, actually, we switch off City Hall, despite City Hall has no outstanding debt. But they said we switch off because that is where the pain is. So, Mheshimiwa Kaluma, what was the trigger? It was not really the trigger. But that last week, I'm hosting mayors from across the world. C40 cities. I'm the vice chair of climate action. Nairobi, my office got the first certified green government building in Africa. If you come to the office, you'll see there's that EDGE certification. Now imagine you're hosting these guys talking about reduced emissions and climate change, and the background is a diesel generator humming behind you. And you ask yourself, you owe me 5 billion. I owe you 1.5, even less. You're so quick to cut me off. So I should also cut you off. Unfortunately, tit for tat is an unfair game. An eye for an eye, we all lose our sight. An eye for an eye, we all lose our sight. So I'll just ask them, at least now we're on the table. Unfortunate, I think the only silver lining from that incident is that now we're on the table. We respect each other's institutions. Our letters, the demand that was sent in December, the Rating Act talks about 60 days before enforcement. The 6th letter, 6th December, 60 days, was Feb. And that's when we took the action. It wasn't just because of that, because they keep cutting it. They keep cutting it. We've never responded to our electricity being cut. We'd have responded a long time ago. We are just implementing the enforcement options available within the law, which includes clamping down the building. I'm told people have been arrested for clamping cars. That is the work of the county government. We clamp cars. Even now, there are cars being clamped in the city. If a car is on a pavement, if a car has not paid parking, if it's in the wrong place, our work is to clamp because they're supposed to pay. And we give them options. Today in Nairobi, you don't pay anything in cash. *647#. All our services, fully digitized, 100% convenience. So if we made it so convenient, why would people not pay? You see, there's a time we actually arrested their officers who are cutting trees. The law says that before you, even my own residence, if I want to cut a tree, I must apply to the county. You must apply. That is the law. But when you behave with impunity that we'll just cut trees all across, go look at Kileleshwa, look at Lavington, and they'll cut and just leave them there, blocking the walkways. That level of impunity must be stopped by someone also. It must be stopped. So I hope, and I'm very happy today, I'm really surrounded by the powers in security, that the law applies to all of us. You cannot enforce only on a county government, but ignore national government. I am so sure there are national entities that owe hundreds of millions of bills to Kenya Power. They'll never be switched off. But counties are a soft target to be bullied. Counties are a soft target to be cut off because no one will speak for counties. let us be equitable. When they do something wrong, Bwana, also deal with them in the same manner. Because there's no law for national entities and a different law for county entities. We are also governments. And that is what the beauty of our constitution was, to create devolution. You know, we are one state, but there are 48 governments. There's a national government and 47 county governments. So, you know, to heshima. The issue of cleanup, who paid for it, Mheshimiwa Russell? Unfortunately, you know, there was a bit more focus in that area, but it's a continuous thing that we always do. Nairobi County cleans. We employed 3,500 Green Army. We have bought equipment. We have bought trucks. I just launched in January 25 refuse compactors. We are now getting into a waste to energy engagement. In fact, the only thing left is the power purchase agreement. And you know, that's an example of how we are working with EPRA and the Ministry of Energy, because they're the ones helping us get the power purchase agreement. That will give me another 200 trucks, because this city must be clean. So I don't think there's an individual to surcharge additional cost of that cleaning, because it was not any private person. It's somebody already on a salary who ordinarily would be cleaning elsewhere. It is equipment that already belongs to the county government. We just focus it there. Mheshimiwa Kaunya, thank you so much, sir, for your question. You asked about the two officers interdicted.
Maybe, Governor, before you proceed, I raised a pertinent question.
Sorry.
On Annex 4, 5, and 16, where different entities have supported that action of dumping garbage. Would you stand with that? Or because of the position that you have already taken, you apologize saying this is wrong, then this must be expunged from the records of this committee?
Chair, these statements are talking not about, no one can support the dumping. They're not in support of dumping. They're talking about the excesses of Kenya Power with respect to counties. That's the excerpt of Council of Governors statement. They highlight, number one, they say Kisumu District Hospital, 2014, power was disconnected. Dr. Ojwang protested, his pleas were ignored. Civil Registration Office, Kilifi, Mombasa General Hospital, Homa Bay, water tank inlet, intake 2023, where residents went without water for days. You know, denying people water as well is a public health concern. Migori County facilities. So these statements, I think, stand on their own. And they're by entities, especially the COG statement. It's by an entity that is recognized under law. Then the thing they say is that despite all of this, and they give an example of an individual. They say in 2024, a Professor Alfred Omenya raised concerns after receiving 2.1 million bill for a new power connection. So from there, they just say, despite all this, Kenya Power also owes. You know, the narrative out there is that governors don't want to pay for power, or we're the only ones who owe. But in my case, for instance, and I've demonstrated, and I'll give you the details of those other meters, they owe us more. That is our claim. More than thrice, more than double what we owe them. And in fact, from the 3.5, you've seen where they have signed both sides, 1.5. I've introduced now the 700 million paid by NMS, 800, compared to 5 billion. Who should go after who? if you on a balance of that. So Chair, please, I hope they have clarity. Mheshimiwa Kaunya, I think
and just try to
be
a bit fast so that the rest can also. We still have like a majority of members, but not.
Thank you. Mheshimiwa Kaluma, thank you so much for your very clear observation of what is happening and actually what the law talks about. It is something that must be investigated, because I suspect when you talk about meters outside Nairobi, if you look at Annex 11, this is a document. The letterhead has the logo of Kenya Power and the logo of Nairobi County. It's a joint document. You know, it would be very easy for me when I got in to say, okay, pay that bill. I said, no, I'm a steward of taxpayers' money. You must verify. They looked at 6,734 meters. Out of the 6,734, they found 1,573 metering points without a meter. These are the areas they looked at. The active meters were 4,273. Meters with no readings were 789. And you can see the list. if you look at, and I will attach another appendix, we say that the county government was to supply contract forms for some of the metering points, but also the meters we found not being for Nairobi County. The next step would be, so how much had been paid into them previously? How much money had been paid? That needs to be refunded to Nairobi County. The only facilities that we can pay for power outside Nairobi are our facilities that we own. For instance, the water facilities I mentioned. But those are paid by Nairobi Water. So if it's Ndakaine Dam, if it is Kigoro, Ngedu water treatment in Gatundu, Nyandarua, Sasumwa, Kiambu, Ruiru Dam, and that is different. But this you find a butchery somewhere. Who owns that butchery? So you might find possibly somebody who has access within that system, putting in the entities. Mulipwe na Kanja Stima. Is that right for the people of Nairobi? No. And so we must get to the bottom of this, because that is also criminal. That is also a criminal activity. It is obtaining using false pretenses. It is forgery. It is completely wrong. So that meter verification exercise was done. You can see the signature. The first signature is Engineer Kioma. That is an engineer from the county government of Nairobi in the Public Works Department, Energy, and Engineer Hicks Waswa. Engineer Hicks Waswa is the regional director of Kenya Power for Nairobi. He's a Nairobi Kenya Power boss. And we said the accounts not in the Nairobi County government name be removed from our bill schedules. Chair, if I go to the next issue, he asked about what provoked the action. It was just the demand. We don't respond out of emotion. Yes, but you might feel bad that you owe me much more, I owe you little, but you keep cutting it. But you don't retaliate in government. In government, you don't retaliate in that manner. And which is why, at the end of the submission, I wanted to correct the notion, even in the letter, that it was about electricity bills, it was about retaliation. That is wild, wild west. If government was to run like that, if I go to ask for my bill tomorrow from the IG, my officers will be shot. Or if I go and ask DOD owe us a lot of money. They owe us 120 water bill, 120 million. Department of Defense. The rates they owe us. The Supreme Court ruled the other day that Embakasi garrison belongs to the county. Can I kick out DOD? They'll bomb us. Government doesn't behave like that. We sit at the table. We say these are our claims. These are your claims. Where do we swap? Where do we, exchange? Because that's how we should operate. So that's why this is an isolated event. The issue of monopoly of KPLC, I don't want to speak against them, but to a great extent there's been abuse. I think all of you have cases, even of your constituents, who tell you that they ask you, your bill is this amount, pay fast. There's no negotiation. A new connection. How do you get a new connection when already you're being charged? So I know the issues, and I have a lot of respect, especially for the new MD. The new MD, Engineer Siror, is an amazing guy. He's a Christian. As a person. But sometimes you have officers. I'm here today discussing the action of somebody pressing a button in a truck, throwing garbage. I was possibly dealing with an issue of health somewhere else. I'm a governor. I have a CEC. I have ministries. I have chief officers. Today, Honorable, my friend from Kirinyaga, Gitari, is here on an issue of an officer who has done something wrong in Kirinyaga. But it's the IG who has to answer for it. The IG has not sanctioned that officer to go beat up people or do whatever he's doing with a metal bar. But that is what you call organizational responsibility vis-a-vis personal culpability. I was not driving that truck. But that is my officer. And so that is why we're taking the action. So we're in good stead with the commercial issues. We have Intergovernmental Relations Committee. They joined us in that meeting at OP. If we're not able to agree, the last resort will be to go commercial, because I cannot also just sweep under the carpet money or to Nairobi. Nairobians want services. You keep telling them, Sakaja, remove dimples from the road. Fill those potholes. How will I fill them? If people are not paying their fair share, how will I fill them? Everyone needs to pay their fair share. and especially government to government. I think finally, Mheshimiwa Rosa Buyu, that's the question you're asking. You know, I said it will not happen under my watch. It has not happened. What stops these things from happening is an emphatic statement from the top leadership of the institution. I'm sure all my staff are listening. They know that, and we've always told them, you know, when we came in, we said, our intention is to create a city of order, dignity, hope, and opportunity. When you get an institution that has existed for so long, and staff who have been there for so long, organizational change and culture change takes time. Today, I'm telling you, Nairobians will tell you that the running battles that used to be there between city council officers and hawkers have never happened in the last 2 years. Matatus have not struck once in the last 2.5 years. It used to be every 2 weeks. It used to be every year. The county government, Mheshimiwa Aduma will tell you, there was even a police post in the county assembly. Gunshots, people fighting with chairs. Have you heard any of that? No. Because we said for us to give people dignity, we start internally by changing how we operate, changing how we speak to each other. And so even it might falter once in a while, because you cannot control 20,000 people's behavior. You don't know where they've come from, what stress somebody might have, what happened at home, mental health issues. But you just keep affirming it as you move along that, please, this is not how we do. When I issued the statement last Thursday, I said, this is not how Nairobi does its thing. And that's the leadership from the top. That's why individuals must, answer for what they've done. The county secretary is saying, the interdiction being on the same date, I think that must be a coincidence. If you look at the letter of interdiction, it says, following preliminary investigations. You can't just interdict at a whim. Somebody must say, no, this is the person who told me to dump. Or somebody must say, this is this is what happened. And immediately the case happened, the director of investigations was tasked to get on it. By the time now it came back to the county secretary, was that 27th, the same day that it was debated in Parliament. Remember, the previous day it was debated in the Committee of Energy, led by Honorable Kawaya. They actually had deliberated upon it. And of course, theirs is to protect their entity. I'm not imputing any motive, but the folly of a one-sided story, the folly of the one-sided story. I had a member of parliament who is in ICT just focusing on the fiber cables. But when you bring us together, then everybody gets the full context. The county secretary's statements, that is the final question, Chair, saying that they will remove the garbage when KPLC payers. I think that could have, I don't want to say it's taken out of context. What it meant was the trucks. The trucks would be removed once there's an engagement. Because the trucks are there on enforcement. The problem was the dumping, remember. But clamping down a building is perfectly within the law. Completely. There's a building just down here around Koinange that the county closed and got tenants to start paying us rent for almost a year to recover rates, There is the property owned by the Koinange family as well, near Taifa Dam, where, having not had paid rates, we clamped it down. And we started getting revenue from them. That is what you passed here. And by the way, thank you so much. That law will help counties actually get the resources they need to serve the people. I'll leave it at that, Chair. Thank you. Sorry for taking time. I'll be briefer next time.
DIG or IG, I think there was some question directed to you. Let's try to be a bit fast so that we can accommodate the other members.
Honorable Chair, honorable members, maybe just before I go to the question that was asked by Honorable Kawinya, let me confirm that we collaborate a lot with the Nairobi County government, and in particular even governor himself. We keep on collaborating because there are many issues that we have discussions between our side and even their side that we need to work together. So I'm just bringing it right that we normally collaborate a lot. Even now, he has already requested for attachment of 2 senior police officers so that he can be able to assist him in many areas that he thought that he can be able to assist, and it's under consideration actually as we speak here. So going straight to the question by Honorable Kawinya, that's the dates for the receipt of the report. As I confirmed in my earlier statement, that this was done on 24th actually by the people who complained straight to our police station in Parklands. But the dumping of the garbage, that one was done on 25th. And then on 26th, it was still there. And then on 27th, there were negotiations that were done, as has been confirmed by the governor, between the teams that were involved and the office of the head of the public service. So the dates remains 24th and 25th. Thank you, Chair.
There was a question directed to DCI, which I think it was actually responded, because I think the question was if the senior officers, to include the CEO, were among the one being investigated or arrested or who had undertaken right statement. Maybe you can just confirm, although the governor did.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I wish to confirm that the two persons under interdiction, that is James and Khalil Mpaka and John Ntoiti, we were able to record statements from them. But certainly, Honorable Chair, the fact that they have been interdicted by the county government will certainly not prejudice our investigations. We will do our investigations very, very professionally. Then, Honorable Chair, there was the issue of the time frame. What time do we intend to conclude the investigations? Already, like I said, Honorable Chair, we had already submitted one link for the file to the ODPP. And for the remainders, we hope that by the end of this week, we will have forwarded the file to the Director of Public Prosecutions. Then there was the issue of the KPLC and its monopoly, Honorable Chair. I may not be competent to comment on the monopoly enjoyed by KPLC. However, switching off of lights has a very, very serious security implication. And KPLC needs to really look into that before they switch off their lights, particularly when it comes to critical infrastructures, things that can affect our national security. We are, however, alive to the fact that KPLC as an organization has a responsibility to deliver on its mandate. And this cannot be realized if clients are not paying their money. So sometimes, last year, Honorable Chair, I remember KPLC switched off power from DCI headquarters with all our guns and with all our firearms. But what I did was to pick a call, and I had a lengthy discussion with the CEO, Engineer Siro. And we were able to address the matter very amicably in a more structured manner, and the power was finally restored to the organization. So
do you owe them?
Sorry?
How much do you owe them?
We owed them about, by then it was 150 million. So then going forward, Honorable Chair, it is important that government agencies should be able to talk to one another with a view to solving the issues amicably. And I'm sure there are forums where these issues can be addressed. I submit, Honorable Chair.
Chair, in that spirit, you can help me with my small bill of 106 from them. I'll be grateful.
So, quickly, members, we are going to...
kindly give NEMA an opportunity to respond to my question. Thank you.
I'm giving. So before we take the last group, we are going to give the DG NEMA to respond to Bureau's question, in 2 minutes.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, as an environmental regulator, our mandate is general supervision and coordination of all matters in environment. And Chair, Nairobi City is the environmental capital of the world. with the UNEP being headquartered here, the only UN body in the global south. So the incident has really dented our image globally. So if you look at our constitution also, Chair.
Which year were they voted the best city? Is it the cleanest or the best city in the world?
Last year we were voted by, not by